quick disclaimer, I got kids, y'all, so you might hear them yelling at Fortnite in the background, but we gonna get the show on the road anyway because I got things to do on this here channel, okay? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lashawnda Smith and I am a business and systems coach, and I am so proud because I just did something that, turned out pretty good, and I'm excited to share with you guys. So I created at this point over 200 YouTube thumbnails within the last 2 days. And I cannot wait to show you how I created these thumbnails. And I know you're probably thinking, 200? Do you really need 200? Like, how are you creating 200 thumbnails? Like, I don't have 200 videos, so what are you planning on using these 200 thumbnails for? Like, why do you have so many? I'm gonna tell you all of that, okay? And let's just say that I got into a creative space and I just hit the ground running with it, okay? On a real note, why did I create 200 or over 200 YouTube thumbnails? Well, for one, it's because I need to be able to push out content a lot faster than I have been able to push out content in the past. Normally, when I create content, I have to sit down, right? Get my space together, get dressed, okay? Because I don't look like this every day. Most of the time, I have my bonnet on and my robe. So I have to get dressed, right? And then as a part of my process, when I was creating content, I would sit down, do a thumbnail, do my little, or not that one. That one don't look good, but like doing like the little looks or whatever for my thumbnails. And sometimes it just didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. Not the picture, but like, the thing about creating thumbnails is you have to be in a creative space to actually get a thumbnail that you're actually gonna like. It was taking me a lot longer to actually create content and push it out. So that's one of the reasons why I created over 200 thumbnails. The second reason is because I wanted to stay on brand. So I'm really big on how your brand aesthetic looks. I am really planning on not renovating this page, but like kind of making over this page and updating my current thumbnails that I have. And it's not that anything is wrong with the thumbnails because I'm actually quite satisfied with the thumbnails. But as far as my aesthetic, I wanted to really make sure that all of my thumbnails kind of matched each other, if that makes sense. And when you see the thumbnails, when I show you later, you'll understand what I mean by that. But I wanted the brand colors to be on point. I wanted the titles or the fonts to be on point. Like, I wanted all of them to be where when you see my YouTube thumbnail on your feed or on your homepage, you know that it's coming from my brand. So that was really, really big. And so I wanted to create as many variations as each thumbnail as I could so that I can make sure I stay on brand. And this is one of the big reasons why I created over 200 thumbnails, because I would like to turn off creative mode when I am in the process of just pushing out content. So one thing about YouTube, if you are new to YouTube or if you're new to like coaching and you're trying to start a YouTube channel, you will realize if you're really trying to play the YouTube game, that you have to be on point when it comes to your thumbnails. And unless you're doing like a talking head thumbnail, like where you're just sitting there and you're smiling at the camera, unless you're doing one of those thumbnails, which I don't necessarily recommend, it can be quite hard for you to turn on the creative mode and find out or figure out what thumbnail will be clickable, what thumbnail is going to give you the aesthetic that you're going for. And it's essentially like you're starting from scratch every single time you create a thumbnail. And ain't nobody got time to be doing that every time they record a video. I'm just saying. And so overall, my purpose in creating all these thumbnails was to save me time in post-production. So once I sit down and record, like today, I've recorded at least 5 videos today. And so now I don't have to worry about the thumbnail because the thumbnail is already pre-created. All I have to do is change out the title and maybe change out the photo of me or just keep the photo of me. It really doesn't matter because it's still gonna look good. So now that you know why I created all these thumbnails, I want to tell you how I created these thumbnails. So the first thing I did was, before I ever created anything, and I always do this, I did thumbnail research. So this is something that a lot of people like tend to not do, but you need to have a variety of inspiration for your thumbnail ideas based on what look you're going for. So I would go on YouTube, especially to like my favorite creators that's in a similar space on YouTube that I'm in, and I would essentially save a lot of the thumbnails that I came across that I personally would want to click on, or that I thought was really appealing, or maybe I like the font that they use, or maybe I like the expression that they had on their face. And I just downloaded all of these different thumbnails. Now, quick tip, if you don't have vidIQ on your laptop or your desktop, I would highly recommend you get that. It's in the description box somewhere where I have all of my resources and stuff. But download vidIQ. Is a software that you can add to your computer where you are able to access all the information in reference to your YouTube videos and other people's videos. You can see their tags. You can see the competition, if it's a good title, like all these different things. It's very beneficial. The reason why I'm even bringing this up is because that's how I save my thumbnails. So whenever I see a thumbnail I like, I click on the actual video and then I pause it and I right click the thumbnail that they show on the right hand side or the right hand side through vidIQ. So this way I could just create a folder in my computer and I just save as many thumbnail photos as I can so that when I am about to do a thumbnail creation day, I could just go through there and do that. So the second thing I did was I planned out my thumbnail branding. This is something that people do not talk about on YouTube for some reason, but I'm here to give you the game, okay? I'm here to give you the tea on how to get it done the right way. So you plan out your branding. This includes the colors, this includes the fonts, this includes the aesthetic, the look of your thumbnail. This also includes the subtext. So when you are saving your thumbnail inspirational photos to your folder, you want to keep in mind what subtext they're putting on these thumbnails. And I'm going to kind of hit on that a little bit later in this video, but you want to make sure that the thumbnail titles that you're putting on there are clickable, like there's something that piques curiosity, right? You want to make sure that you are keeping in mind what subtext you're going to be actually adding onto your thumbnails. And then the next thing I did was I had a thumbnail shoot. So this happens, the goal is for me to have a thumbnail shoot when I am about to produce a lot of different content, or if I feel like I need to update my photos. One thing that I learned about YouTube is that you do not have to take a picture every time you record a video. The thumbnail photo of you does not have to match what you're actually wearing in your video. This is something that people don't talk about that happens. If you follow certain people, you'll notice that if they're like really, really big, a lot of the times they're using the same type of photo or the same exact photo, and they're just changing the background of the thumbnail. So this is actually really smart because this eliminates you having to figure out what you're going to do for your thumbnail every single time. So if you have a certain expression that goes well with multiple videos, you can use that same photo that you took with that expression and put it on a future video. Just like today, I went ahead and did some thumbnail photos today because I like my look today and I would love for this look to go on some of my thumbnails. But in the future, my look may be completely different in the actual video, but I may still use the photos that I took from today for future thumbnails. I hope that makes sense. So going back to your thumbnail shoot. So if you pick a day, right, and you're like, okay, today I'm gonna get dressed, I'm gonna look good, I'm not gonna necessarily record content. You can do both, but sometimes I find doing them separately kind of works in my favor, in my opinion. But ideally you wanna have about 3 to 4 different looks. So you want 3 to 4 outfits that you're gonna switch out of, and you can essentially think about this like a photo shoot. And so you're gonna have 3 to 4 different outfits, you're gonna get dressed, you're gonna beat the face, okay? You're gonna look nice and cute, you know, throw the wig on if you wear wigs, curl your hair if you don't, whatever. And then you're going to do multiple different types of poses. So the good thing about this is you don't necessarily have to have like a photographer do this. You can absolutely do this on your own. I recommend you do this on your own. You might have to get like your son or your daughter or somebody, your spouse, to like take these photos for you if you're like holding a prop or something like that. But what I have is this phone remote. I take my thumbnails either from my DSLR camera, because I was a photographer, so I have a DSLR camera, or I take it from my phone and I just use this remote to like snap the picture whenever I strike a pose. So like if I'm doing pointing photos, and I would just kind of do like this, like that kind of stuff. And you just take different varieties of that picture or that pose, like with that look. And then you do the same thing with each outfit. So the goal is for you to have a variety. So you want to have expressions. You want to have happy, sad, mad, confused, surprised, dramatic. Like you want to kind of do all of the expressions in each outfit. You also want to make sure that you utilize props. So I had my laptop for some, I had my phone, you know, I might have been like sitting on a couch for one, just different things depending on what type of business you have. You want to be able to utilize different things. Another thing that I see a lot of people do is they have like digital photos that they might add into the thumbnail. And that's like kind of like you kind of do that, but you don't do that during the thumbnail shoot. But just keep in mind, if you're gonna have different things as a part of your props, you wanna have all of that stuff ready before you do your shoot. So after I did my thumbnail shoot and I took a whole bunch of photos, then the next thing I did was I started playing around with designing. And I'm gonna be honest, like I have been trying to figure out what my thumbnails were gonna look like for quite some time. And so I've been kind of playing around with this like on and off. But for some reason, a couple days ago, it just hit me and I was just like boom, 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 boom. And I was able to create all of my thumbnails. And that's why I said I don't like having to constantly be in that creative space all the time, because I feel like sometimes it doesn't fire the way I want it to fire. And then sometimes it does. Once I started playing around in Canva with my designs, they just kind of started coming to me. So I made sure to go back to the inspiration that I had from the other thumbnails. And the first thing I started doing was adding the basics. So I would like clip me out in Canva. That's easy to do. Just remove the background of your photos. And then I would put me on there. I also, okay. So I didn't say this during the thumbnail shoot part, but this is very important. I'm glad I thought about this. So when you are doing your thumbnail shoot, make sure that you take a picture of only the background. So one thing that I ran into when I was trying to repurpose future photos is that depending on where I am, like right now I'm doing this video and I'm in the middle of the actual video, right? But sometimes if I needed to put me over to the left or put me over to the right so that I could put, you know, text and stuff right here, I wasn't able to do it. Because if I move me, then there's another me like in the middle, because this is where I took the photo. So I learned that taking a actual still shot of just your background, you can use that photo and add you back into it. This is going to change the game for your thumbnails. Okay, you can blur out your background. You can put you wherever you want to put you in the background. Like you don't have to worry about trying to hide you or anything like that. So please make sure you do that. But going back to the designing part. So I had some that was good. I had some that was bad. But once I got into like the groove of how I was wanting my thumbnail to look, and I think it took for me to make one really nice one after looking at my inspiration for the other thumbnails I had saved, then it just kind of hit me. So what I normally do with the thumbnails that I've saved previously, I look at where the titles are. I look at where the person is in the photo. I look at what they're holding. I look at if they have any banners or anything. And then I play around with trying to curate something that I like based on what I've seen. So I want to also make sure that I hit on don't copy people's thumbnails. Okay, so don't try to copy it to the T of how someone else did it, but you can try to replicate it in your own way. Like you might see someone holding a laptop, and so you hold the laptop, but you do a different expression, or maybe you put it in front of you, or you put it behind you, or whatever. But I said, or you put it behind you. That don't even make sense. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. You get the point. But you just kind of play around with it. And I find that with me trying to replicate what I saw from multiple thumbnails, it turns into my own thumbnail. Like it doesn't look exactly like theirs, but it's good enough for me to utilize as my own thumbnail. And then after I got in the groove of my design, I just created as many as I could. I just went to town and I was up to like, I'm not gonna lie, like almost 3 o'clock in the morning creating these thumbnails. Cause it hit me late at night. Like I was working on it, I wanna say, it was around like 9, 10 o'clock maybe. And I was just kind of fiddling. And then once I started creating some really good ones, I was like, ooh, let me see how many more I can come up with. So now that I have all of my thumbnails created, once I start pumping out more content, like I'm doing a lot of content creation over the next few days, I'm just gonna be swapping out the title, swapping out the photo of me, and getting this content created. So let me know if this video was helpful. Drop a fire emoji in the comment section below if this was helpful when it comes to thumbnail creation. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you would like more tips, especially if you are a new coach and you need help in the coaching space. I create a lot of content specifically for coaches, but I'm gonna be doing another video on how to create clickable thumbnails in a future video. So you wanna stay tuned for that. That should be coming up really shortly. But until next time, guys, I'll see you in a future video. Bye.